Well, there is no shortage of disappointment this weekend. I guess the only thing we can bank on is the fact that there are two SEC teams in the playoff. One of them isn't going to be an SEC team until next year. But man, I really thought that the way to do this was to have no SEC teams in the playoff. But Alabama, Nick Saban, that deal that he made with the devil has got to be like he's going to be paying for a long time. I don't know how many souls he had to give up, but to pull the rabbit out of his rear end with the grave digger, which I guess part of the grave digger that they supposedly practice every day in practice is nobody rushes the quarterback, and he just stands back there forever, and somebody eventually leaks free. But let's just get right into it. Florida State got robbed. The winning means nothing.
Yeah,
honestly, like seriously, like what the hell? Florida State scheduled LSU. They always have Florida on the schedule. They beat LSU, a top 5 team, early in the season. I know LSU's defense is what it is, whatever. But like, what are you sending? What message are you sending to people when you can go undefeated in the ACC, win the conference championship, beat a really good Louisville team with your third string quarterback, with your backup like ready to go the next game? He just wasn't ready for this one. What gives? First of all, condolences for last night. But the hot topic right now is the travesty and the sham that is the college football playoff, and just giving Nick Saban whatever he cries and whines for every single time, and leaving out an undefeated conference champion from Power 5 conference.
Yeah, I mean, Florida State, you can't go more undefeated. Like, what do you want them to do? Like, I understand that, like, whatever, their quarterback's hurt. Yeah, like you're like their criteria slowly like all of a sudden it's about the 4 best teams, not about who you beat and when. All of a sudden, like, because it's about who you beat, then Florida State should be in. Like, Bama lost to Texas, and Bama's still in. Like, we lost to Bama by 3. Mind you, with a lot of our weapons hurt, not playing. Like, and we played horrible last night. We played terrible. And from snap one, we could see the refs were clearly in it for Bama. I don't know if
Alabama should have 2 losses the last 2 games.
Yes, because we're talking about eye test. We're going to forget about
a dropped pass, an incomplete pass.
Yeah,
was never even looked at.
Yeah,
on 4th down,
on 4th and 4,
that would have ended the possession and completely changed the momentum of the game, and ends up in a touchdown.
Yep.
And then let's go back to the old gravedigger. Congratulations, Alabama. Congratulations, Nick Saban. Congratulations, Jalen Milroe. You had to get lucky and also have a defense try not to stop you.
Yep.
On a 4th and 31. So that you could beat a team that just got beat 31-7 by New Mexico State the week before. Congratulations. I hope you're proud of yourself. So what we're going to do is we're going to penalize Louisville because they didn't look Florida State because they didn't look great against a Louisville team because they had their third string quarterback playing. And it's a really good Louisville team that beat Duke earlier this year. That beat Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got Louisville, and Florida State beats them, controls the game. And I think what they're trying to do, what Mike Norvell was doing, is let's not put this freshman quarterback in a situation where he loses the game for us because we have too much talent. Yeah. We have to win this game first and foremost. It's not about style points. We don't have the luxury of
running it up.
Of that. Yeah, of running it up. We've got to make sure that we beat this really good team. Okay. But we're going to completely overlook the fact that Alabama looked like ass against a garbage, terrible Auburn team, a team that LSU beat 48-18. Alabama should have lost that game. And as far as I'm concerned, did lose that game.
Yep.
Because in terms of, like, if we're looking at who's the best, like, I'm sorry, that's trash. Like, you played like trash. Your quarterback is not good. Like, he's a good running back, but I don't know if you watched yesterday, but, like, if the receiver wasn't wide open
and we left him wide
throw
open,
it behind him, if he's not able to throw it behind the receiver, under the receiver, it's going to be.
And we left his receivers wide open. We let Isaiah Bond open in all areas of the field, and we couldn't get to Milroe. And Milroe, like, and it's pretty much any bad pass was because we had a little bit of pressure. And we couldn't get pressure. and like Brock Bowers and Lam McConkey were playing with limps the whole game, and we also our play calling was terrible. We were trying to run it to the short side of the field every time,
Yeah.
getting swallowed up, or running it up the middle. Like, and then Carson, we're trying to do these little flips, and we're like in the fumble and the missed field goal.
Yeah, the
Came
fumble
back to
was
haunt us.
the fumble
Came back
was
to haunt us.
the fumble was terrible.
Came
That
back to
was
haunt us.
one.
We played terribly.
Yeah.
And the refs were not on our side. I would not like. I think I'd be more upset if we played better and the refs were that bad. But we played poorly. We can't blame that solely on the refs. But we're talking about missed face masks. We're talking about blown pass interference calls. We're talking about them holding us all night long. It's just
Yeah.
I know that we played Dallas Turner trying to rip our guys' heads off and nothing being called. The only time they called the penalties on Bama is when it didn't matter. They were happy to give us the face mask, the blatant face mask towards the end.
When it's really late and it doesn't matter anymore.
This is George coming in the comments. What does George have to say?
He said that we just proved why they put Bama in with the statement about FSU not wanting the freshmen to lose the game. I don't understand. I don't get it. What that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't prove anything.
They played not to lose. They're still undefeated. Still an undefeated team.
Yeah, they didn't play. Okay, yeah, they played not to lose.
We played not to lose and we lost. So I understand what you say, but
they're playing with the guy who's not going to be the quarterback in their bowl game, or who would have been the quarterback in their playoff game had they gotten in. Their backup quarterback would have been in that situation. Anyway, Alabama didn't earn it. Alabama didn't earn it, and they don't deserve to be in that game. And I get that they want their little TV show to be as popular as possible.
It's ratings driven.
But
it's they don't want Florida State losing by a lot on national television. I get that, but I don't even know with Florida State's defense if that's truly what would happen. Michigan is overrated. They started slow against Iowa last night. You're talking about Iowa. 250 yards of offense, Iowa. I think that Florida State's defense is definitely better than Iowa's.
Well, they gave up how many defensive
around the quarterback at Florida State are better. Keon Coleman's great. I think that you can't go more undefeated. So it just sets the precedent that it truly doesn't matter undefeated conference champion or not.
Yeah,
we're gonna put who we want and who we like in the playoff. Have you heard? I'm not here complaining when Georgia's not in it. You know what I mean? I get it. We lost. Oh well. 29 win streak and 2 back-to-back national championships is what it is. Yeah. But I think that Florida State got robbed. You can't ask any much more of them. You're saying, oh, your quarterback happened to get hurt in a game.
I wonder how much lobbying Greg Sankey did, because that's Nick Saban's, that's Nick Saban's little bitch. Because he's just he does whatever Nick Saban wants. Dallas Turner clearly targets Jaden Daniels, hits him in the head under his face mask, drives him into the ground. No, nothing. We're just gonna just play along.
Yeah.
And then we get a tackle where a guy's trying to make a tackle in the open field on a runner, and the runner lowers his head, and we got our guy ejected for targeting for the same thing. I want to read this statement by the ACC commissioner, Jim Phillips. He says, it is unfathomable that Florida State, an undefeated Power 5 conference champion, was left out of the college football playoff. Their exclusion calls into question the selection process and whether the committee's own guidelines were followed, including the significant importance of being undefeated Power Conference champion. So I'll say this, the way that this thing has gone in the past, where you have some of these other non-Power 5 conferences that their champion wants to be included in the playoff when they clearly haven't played the schedule.
Cincinnati.
Right. Cincinnati or Boise State or Central Florida, those types of schools. And I get it, and we're getting away from that. I mean, thank God this is not going to be an argument.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the last year we had to deal with this. Thank God.
But I have to say, the way that you go about this whole process of choosing who's going to be in this thing, if you can't line up in front of your team and tell them, like, look, if we go win all of our games and we win the conference championship, then we're going to be in the playoff. Then what are you doing? And we have, it is our pleasure to welcome to the stage yet another disappointed college football fan for different reasons.
Welcome.
Ohio State homer Jeremiah Campana is here to join us.
Gentlemen,
Jeremiah, your first thoughts on this Travis mockery of a selection process. We all saw it coming because we know that I don't know, the Saban has nudes of like everybody important in all of college sports
because he's CIA
blackmailing everyone. Yeah, he's got like he's made the most ridiculous deal with the devil to pull some of the stuff out of his hat. He must have like doubled down on his deal with the devil after the kick six because he was like, no, this cannot happen again. I don't know what Gus Malzahn did, but you've got to undo it. Give me the power back. How many of my grandchildren do I have to sacrifice? But anyway, so what say you, Jeremiah?
Oh man, gentlemen, it's with heavy hearts I join you today.
Yeah.
We're all disappointed. We all season long we were pretty happy. Even LSU. I mean, despite the bad defense, I mean, we all were in good spirits. And then just the last few weeks of the season, man, was just gut wrenching. And then now we see why that it should have been 12 teams all along. We should have never been doing it.
Emergency 18 playoff.
Right. Emergency 8, emergency 6, anything but the top 4. That you knew that I knew, Chad, I know you were like, there's no way they're putting Bama in. There's no way. And it's like, TV show, Big 10 versus SEC, 1 versus 4. Of course, they're gonna, and like you said, who knows what Nick Saban has on all these.
Your boy George said,
"Yeah, George is a Bama fan, by the way."
He said he sacrificed a lot more than grandkids. Honestly,
George is a Bama fan, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
Unbelievable. So now, even if we, I know you said in the chat that you want Ohio State, Tyler, but
I would like Ohio. I don't want to play Florida State because that's what people are saying.
I don't want to play Louisville. The thing is, though,
at least
you know what I want. You know what I want.
Watch it.
I want LSU Iowa because I want the immovable the immovable object versus the irresistible force. Yeah, like I want it to be that. I want it to be LSU's offense against that defense, and then I want it to be the opposite. I want it to be the movable object against the resistible force, which is Iowa's offense against LSU's defense. Like, that would be such an epic matchup. Like, which unit is worse, their offense or LSU's defense, and which unit is actually the best? Because I think you could make an argument that based on what you saw last night, I don't know that there's a better defense in the country than Iowa's.
Which is crazy.
The only reason they gave up 26 points is because they kept fumbling the ball on the goal line and giving Michigan touchdowns.
It's like amazing.
Punt return for a touchdown.
Iowa's offense only takes place inside their own 40-yard line, inside their own 30. Like and I'll tell you, I wasn't kidding y'all. I texted y'all. That punter has one of the best legs.
He's going to the league.
He's going to the NFL. Like, if anybody's getting drafted from that team, it's the punter. The punt coverage, unbelievable, except for that one they let get loose. But listen, I was going to say, it's all 3 phases, Chad. If we want to see Iowa play LSU, we're going to see what the special teams has to offer.
Hey, listen, we're going to get not all 3 phases. We're going to get 2 out of 3 ain't bad from Iowa. And I don't even know that, like, our special teams is pretty good. Like, we our punt team has been a little disappointing when it comes to, like, we had a kid who wouldn't field punts, and so you just let him roll like 20 yards early in the season, replaced him, and now it's a little bit better. But and we've had our issues with like fumbling, but our kickoff team and our place kicking and everything and our punting game is really good. So I would say, like, you get 2 out of 3 from LSU as well. You get special teams and you get offense from LSU. You get special teams and you get defense from Iowa. And where it's all going to really come down to it is, like, where is the where's that other piece?
Iowa's offense versus LSU's defense.
Iowa's offense against our defense. Like, which one is worse? Because I think LSU's offense should be able to put up numbers against their defense, as good as their defense is. It's just, can their offense put up enough
Like,
against
I feel
a
like
defense that wants to allow them to?
it's going to be like they're going to throw a pick, and then you're going to fumble it right back to them, and then it's just going to be like,
No, we don't turn the ball over. That's the thing.
No,
Like,
no, I'm talking about
the
like no, they're
most-
going to throw a pick, and then your DB is
our
going to fumble
defense
the
is
ball
going to
right
fumble
back
the
to him.
pick. Yeah, I mean that could happen.
But I don't know. Like this, I'll say this is very disappointing. Like Bam is in. It says enough that they beat us and by 3, and they go from 8 to 4. Like, and we can't beat ourselves as number 1 team in the country. So like we can't, like, there's nothing that we can do to bolster our resume.
Right. Who
as the number 1 team in the country?
Improve your resume.
I
Right.
was gonna say we beat 4 ranked teams. You know, like I'm not here to argue for us to be in. Like I know that Kirby said his thing about the 4 best teams, and I'd argue that we're one of those 4 teams. But like, you know, we can't lose to number 8 if we are one of those best teams. You know what I mean? We should have taken care of business. And I wish we would have been number 5 as opposed to number 6. I would have felt a little bit better than that. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to jump Florida State, the undefeated team.
Yeah. Wait, so you don't think it's appropriate for you to jump Florida State as a 1-loss team? Oh,
no,
okay.
I don't.
That's
actually.
interesting.
I know I'm crazy for that. I know I'm crazy for not wanting to be above an undefeated conference champion.
No other team would have made that jump. No other team in entirety of college football would have made that jump. The only scenario that
could have happened is they would only do that for Alabama because it's and I like it would be really cool.
If Travis is healthy, we're not having this conversation.
It would be really cool. Right, we wouldn't. But I don't know.
You think they still would have got Bama?
I think that we would still. I think that there would still be a discussion about it. They would still be talking about Alabama. Like I'm telling you, it's the most. I don't know any. They're like they actually win, but they're like Texas A&M. They really, really think their shit doesn't stink. Like it's insane. Like I've never seen anybody with I'll admit when we don't like our defense is not good. Like it's just bad. Like it's and I'll tell you, even like in the 2019 season, I was worried when we gave up to Plumlee, like gave up all those points to Ole Miss. I was like, man, this is gonna be tough. But Dave Aranda got it corrected, got our defense going in the right direction. But like at that moment, I was like, I don't know if we can pull this off. Like this is gonna be tough. But I swear, like if Alabama wins a game in a season, they think they deserve to be in the playoff. Like they just believe that they deserve whatever everybody get. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
The best coach in football history fell into their lap out of the sky because they did nothing to like deserve that. It was Nick Saban leaves LSU after winning a national championship, goes to the Dolphins, falls flat on his face right in perfect timing for LSU to have already hired another. Because what are you going to do? Just like wait? Like let's wait
a whole
let's
NFL
wait and
season.
see if he fails.
Yeah.
And what do you do? Also, do you turn around and fire Les Miles 2 years in to hire Nick Saban? No, you have to just live with the shit sandwich that he dumped on you. And then, of course, he falls right into Alabama's lap when they are sucking for like a decade solid and desperately need a head coach to turn them around. The best coach in the history of the sport just falls into their laps.
Yep.
And they think they're like, yeah, that's just how great we are. Like, all right, yeah, well, go tell your nephew son that.
He can do no wrong according to anybody.
Yeah.
NCAA investigators,
Yes.
referees.
Well,
he can
it's
do no
it's
wrong.
fitting, isn't it? That's the first round matchup is the two cheatingest, like most
Yeah, right.
The
Saban Harbaugh.
The golden
it's like the
children
Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other.
The golden children of so this was not lost on me. All right. So a guy who everyone knows was cheating is on the broadcast while they're talking to him about the fact that it's been a tough season because they cheated and they got caught. And he's like, I just want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for helping us through this. Like, really? Is that what you went and prayed? Like, Jesus, help me to come up with a scheme to steal signs so that we can win by cheating. And help me find a way to blackmail enough people to get away with it. Like, at least the Alabama fan who came into the chat recognized and admitted that Nick Saban sacrificed more than his grandkids to make that deal with the devil.
Yeah, no. So the real question is because the NCAA is not done and they're investigating Michigan for more than just this. So
the Big Ten or
what
is the NCAA
what
on
happens?
This too? Were they?
So the only punishment he's gotten is from the Big Ten. The NCAA has
Okay.
not done anything to them, so it's
Okay.
possible that they will. It's possible. I don't know that they will vacate wins, but it's possible that they
But
vacate
it's
wins.
annoying. They put them in this just to possibly give away the.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
Just to vacate it later
So-
on.
So my hope is in this
Sam
order.
just beats them.
Number one, I hope Washington wins the whole thing. I don't think it's going to
Dude,
happen,
same.
but I hope Washington wins the whole thing, just because I think first of all, like I respect Michael Penix, now I realize that what I said about him, like when he had his head in the thing, apparently he does that routinely, and he's just like thinking and like kind of getting his
Maybe
head
there's a
out of.
monitor in there, low key.
Yeah,
he's just like a monitor in there.
There may be a monitor in there, but the point is, like, he was not like afraid to look.
He does that very
like
routinely. I saw that too.
He was just in the zone.
Yeah.
So because I saw him do that the other night against Oregon, and they got it done and won the game. But so I'm rooting for him, but also I think it would be really funny if the Pac-12 that doesn't exist anymore won the national championship.
Yeah, right.
That would be really funny. The second thing that would be really funny, and this is my second choice, is Texas wins it all.
I'm okay with that
because they're in the SEC.
Yeah,
right. And so I didn't tell you this, Jeremiah, but it was so hilarious watching. So yesterday,
they were booing apparently.
Yesterday during the Big 12
kickoff.
Yeah, during the Big 12 post game, the Big 12 championship post game, where they're giving the awards out and everything. Steve Sarkisian is up on the podium or up on the stage, and the Big 12 commissioner comes up. The whole stadium is booing him. And then the Texas fan, he keeps telling him, he's like, okay, guys, I'd like to thank y'all for, showing up and this great audience and the biggest, whatever turnout, blah, 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 blah. They're booing him, incessantly booing him to where he can barely talk.
Jeez.
And then Steve Sarkisian like starts telling him to quiet down. He's like, y'all stop. Come on. Let's come on.
Just decorum, like
calm down. And then they're just like, nah, screw you, bro.
Nah.
SEC. You got the Big 12 championship winner
in your hands. They're holding
SEC
the trophy.
In the Big 12 championship.
That's crazy.
Chanting SEC.
They're holding the trophy. Like they're holding the Big 12 trophy.
That's how bad it is. So
those poor fans.
For Texas next. Third, I'm rooting for Michigan, because if the first two scenarios don't work out, I want Michigan. I know you hate it, but here's why. Hear me out. Michigan wins it, and then it all gets vacated.
Okay. All right. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that scenario.
It doesn't exist anymore. And I'm not even going to put Alabama on the list. They're not even my fourth choice. They're not on the list.
I know. That's man. I'm sorry, guys. I can't.
Yeah, you're talking about like this is an SEC podcast, and we like the last time we wanted the SEC team to win.
No, I do want the SEC team to win, just not Alabama.
Just not Alabama.
I want Texas to win.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like I would love Washington to like in the swan song of a conference that doesn't exist, just take it home.
Mm-hmm.
But like, do we think that Washington beats Texas? Like, do we think legitimately that I think they can.
I don't know. I don't know. Texas.
I think it's
really
going to be a tough game though. Like that's
really
going to be a great game. I think that Michigan's overrated. I think that Alabama might beat them, unfortunately. But I don't know.
Yeah, I can see. I honestly, I can see Michigan get boat raced in this game. I don't see them putting up a fight.
I don't know. Alabama's offense is not good enough to boat race anyone. Jalen Milroe's not a good quarterback. He can run the ball, and if they're now, does Michigan let people get wide open in the secondary routinely? Then maybe, but I think there's enough up front muscle on both sides.
And they haven't played any mobile
Michigan.
quarterbacks either.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay, this is true. So they may struggle in that regard. And that's the thing. That would be probably the danger is that Milroe runs around on them. But I think if they play, it's just all going to come down to, is anybody going to figure out that if you just play disciplined pass rushing, you keep him in the pocket and you force him to collapse
the pocket last night, and like he we let Isaiah, like you can't let Isaiah Bond just run around the field and be open the whole time.
Yeah.
That's to be allowed to happen.
Yeah, you got to keep him in the pocket, but you still have to collapse the pocket.
Yeah, which we didn't do. We just let him stand back there.
Yeah, you can't have your edge rushers rush all the way upfield and give him that little cutback lane underneath. You've
Which
got to
we let
stay
him
disciplined
would do
in your
way too
lanes.
much last night.
Yeah. But no, and they're like Alabama's one vulnerability on defense is you can run the ball on them if you've got a good enough
which is
running
what
attack.
Michigan's good at. Yeah.
And I was really disappointed, to be honest, Tyler. Like you guys didn't run the ball more effectively.
We didn't show up.
Yeah,
Like,
it was.
We didn't like, and we were like it's. I don't know if Bobo.
And you still almost
like,
won the game. That's the
I
crazy
know. Like
part.
we didn't show up and we lost by 3. Like
I'm watching on Alabama's final drive. They're just gashing you with 14-yard runs. I'm like,
I know. And then Isaiah, but like it's like, oh, we actually stopped there. Like we actually made a play on the ball. Oh, there's the flag. Like
yeah.
It's
Oh,
like,
and never mind the fact that like they're holding receivers. And,
yeah, did you see how much they were?
There's interference. There's interference on like almost every contested catch when Georgia's throwing the ball, and they're not calling it ever.
Yeah,
they never called it. I think they called penalties. It was like so obvious that it was you have to call that one.
The penalties when it was inconsequential to Bama. They're like, okay, we'll give you one here because the penalties ended up being 5-3, but they were holding us like on the egregious You talk about our edge rushers getting upfield, and then they're just holding on to them. And then Milroe's just going.
Even on those gash plays that you're talking about, like there was holding on the interior too. Like there were a lot of plays where like a guy is like trying to get off a block, and he's just like, I can't move because this guy's got a hold of my jersey. So
we were holding too, but they were calling it. It's like
what I mean? There's holding on every play.
I was gonna say they called us for holding. We pretty much any me and my family had friends over last night. Pretty much any time we saw the ball hit the ground, near Bama receiver, we're like, oh, here comes we were just waiting for the flag.
Yeah,
we were tackling Milroe. We were just waiting for the flag. It was ridiculous. And the horse collar. That was
so terrible.
Grabs him on the outside of the shoulder pad.
It's shoulder pad, and they call a horse collar, and it's like, and then they
kept the drive going.
We had a horse collar in our game with Alabama, and they didn't call it.
Yeah, I know.
Like an actual horse collar. Grabbed the horse collar,
and they were grabbing our guys' jerseys when we were going out for routes. I said, it's not to discount the fact that we played poorly.
Right.
We called a bad offensive game. We barely looked downfield. We were running to the short side of the field or inside. Every time getting swallowed up. And we have guys that can get loose. That first drive where we scored looked so easy, and we never did. We didn't do that until the end. We were already down 10 and trying to make up time. But we let the game get away from us for pretty much the second and third quarter, and that was it.
Well, there's a reason there's no triple season undefeated champions. It's really hard to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's not like
nothing else. It's quarterback plays such a huge role when you're at that level. You can be an 8-3, 9-3, whatever team several years running. You can win 10 games every year with a flux at quarterback, every couple of years.
We could have used,
but going undefeated and winning and beating that gauntlet that you have to win, winning your way through the SEC, winning the SEC championship. Because listen, Jeremiah, the SEC championship, you actually have to play somebody in that game. You don't get to play
Iowa
most of the time. Most of the time.
Most of the time. Most of the time.
Unless you get
Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Florida, there's
a couple of times you let Mizzou sneak through in the East.
We let Missouri in. We let Missouri in a couple of times, but that was a good Missouri team. Though.
It was, but we let Mizzou sneak in when they shouldn't have. We've let Florida sneak in when they shouldn't have.
I think Arkansas got into it one year.
There a couple times, didn't they?
Say what?
Not in this last decade. Tennessee has been the SEC championship.
Yeah, well, and when Tennessee was in the SEC championship, that was when they were actually good. When Phil Fulmer was there, and they had it was James Stewart and Peyton Manning and all those guys. Although, wait, did Peyton Manning ever get to the SEC championship?
I don't know.
I don't think he did.
I don't believe so.
I know that he played and beat Ohio State with some questionable cleats. There's some controversy surrounding their football gear in that game or something.
Cleats. We're talking about cleats. All right.
Dude, I mean, I'll just say, we did not have it last night. Bottom line, we didn't have it. last night, like we said, like, you know, as well as Beck has played this year, we could have used some of Stetson Bennett's confidence last night.
Yeah,
Like we
that,
like
that was
Beck did not have like the confidence to be like, oh, we're still here. Let's get it done. Like we played scared. We played not to lose and we lost.
yeah.
Like
Well,
Bobo was not calling the same game last night that he had in weeks past.
do
Also,
you remember
like
what
said,
we were
like,
talking about with when I was telling you about my son's basketball team and their stuff? So like this one team was like pressing them, and it wasn't a super aggressive trapping press, but it was just like this little I think it was like a 1-2-2 or maybe I think it was a 1-2-2. Anyway, but they're just kind of playing. They're full court pressing you, but they're not trying to aggressively trap or anything like that. So you still have to make crisp passes though, and like there are a couple of times where it's just like a floater, and then it's just like somebody runs into the passing lane and tips it off. That's kind of what I felt like that fumble was, where if Carson Beck like actually delivers the handoff, it was like he just kind of went,
like he tried to be too nonchalant.
Just dropped the ball. He tried
to be way too nonchalant. I think he was trying to sell something and totally missed the pitch.
Right.
Like he was way too nonchalant and then didn't realize the ball was on the ground. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It was just the fact that like if you're just a little bit more precise and focused, you get you make that play, and at the very least you don't turn it over.
Yeah, I mean
that just gave Bama points. There was like I thought the game was over in the third quarter. Like, to be fair, y'all were talking me off the ledge multiple times. Yeah, I was trying to talk you off the ledge. I was like, man, y'all got this. And then like that fumble, and I was like,
maybe not. Yeah,
and y'all still. I mean, it was
that
still
was Curtis a dirty player. He literally face masked our guy
really
and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, he's really dirty.
Like I don't know. Like
I'm not a big fan of that. Like if you want to play hard and play tough, like that's one thing. But like he seriously tried to hurt Jaden Daniels, tried to take him out of the game, on purpose, and that is the stuff that you're supposed to be trying to get out of the game. You're not supposed to be trying to get out of the game stuff where somebody goes, they go down, they try to make a form tackle in the open field of a guy coming at them, and that guy lowers his head and their helmets hit, and you eject one of them. Like, no, that's like football. But when the quarterback throws the ball like this and a defensive lineman hits him right here in the face with the crown of his helmet and lifts him up into the ground and then drives his face into the ground, and he's the Heisman Trophy candidate, probably going to win it. And he's the only way that you can make sure that you win that game is take him out of the game. It's dirty as hell. But anyway, all right. So let's real quick before we
when do they pick the other bowl games?
2:30, I think.
Oh, is it 2:30 today?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's just go.
I don't care.
I mean, yeah. So are we all in agreement that they're going to find a way to somehow let I don't know who wins the Cheaters Bowl.
I think Bama does, unfortunately.
You do.
I think Bama does.
I think Bama does. I think that this is Harbaugh's penance for you can't advance scout all these teams, unfortunately, and that's why I think that's why like come playoff time you can't advance scout all these teams. They may have had somebody watching this Alabama team.
Yeah,
he's got one foot out the door. I'm telling you,
if there's one team that you were definitely advanced scouting no matter what for the last 5 years,
it's Bama. That's
Alabama.
That's totally fair.
Alabama and Georgia, like
say that Michigan.
They were holding Georgia practices. You know that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
They were trying to play. They were ready to play you guys.
Yeah, I know. I think that Michigan's run game does give Alabama a problem, though. I think that Michigan's run game does show them a little bit. I mean, I don't know how Michigan's defense is going to do against
ability to run the ball is going to play a role.
Yeah,
because Jaden Daniels ran the ball effectively on him. Peyton Thorne and Robbie Ashford ran the ball on him with Auburn. Like a mobile quarterback and a good run game actually can give them a little bit of a fit. So it's really going to come down to, can they get pressure and not let Jalen Milroe run around on them? Because if they can contain him, if they can do to him what you guys did to him last night, I think it makes for a better potential performance, because I think they're going to do a better job of stopping the run than you guys did.
Yeah, we didn't do enough of it. Like I think that I know that Michigan's probably a little salty that they're not playing Florida State, if we're being honest. But
Yeah,
like,
no
I mean,
joke.
but if you're Michigan though, like you want this game. You don't want people to say that you waltzed into the
Right.
national championship.
Yeah.
They
Like
don't care. The
if you're
fans don't care.
yeah, if you're Michigan, you want this
I
game.
really, I think Tyler, I think you're wrong on that. I don't think Michigan wants this game. I think
Oh.
Michigan, if Michigan
wants
could
the
have it
easiest
their way,
road.
they would want it to be like everybody just dies in front of them.
Everybody rolls over and says, "Here you
Yes.
go, have the win."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and Harbaugh's got one foot out the door. There's nobody in local media
we
around here that
thinking
thinks
that
he's going to
Michigan.
stay.
No, we
No one thinks he's going to stay.
You think he's what
think
job does he take though? Do you think he takes like? Is there gonna could he be the Panthers head coach, take over for Frank Reich? Like, what do we think?
They're talking Panthers. They're talking Bears.
There's going to be a lot of openings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there'd be
So-
no shortage of jobs. It's just
Do we
the
think he
NFL
just
want
jumps
him.
into a head coaching job in the NFL though? You think that's
Yeah.
like where?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
no
mean,
coordinator
look,
position.
The Saints
The
are
NFL
gonna
doesn't
probably
care
need
about
a new
any college.
coach.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. All right. So this other matchup, Washington,
This
Texas.
is gonna be a great game.
So here's why I think Washington is kind of intriguing, and I also am going to get into something else about this whole situation. So Washington at 13-0 and a conference champion that has not looked impressive in their recent games, but did look good against Oregon. They get a nod. Alabama looks like ass against Auburn. They get the nod. But Florida State, sorry, you didn't look good enough. Even though you went undefeated, you get
undefeated, unreal.
So, but Texas at 12-1 coming in with a very good resume, and they've actually been playing.
They've looked really
well.
good this last
Like,
couple games.
I think the most likely scenario is it's probably like Alabama against Tech. I think Texas winning that game is probably the one that I would put the highest probability on.
I mean, do we agree that Penix is a better
outcomes.
quarterback than Ewers?
I mean,
More.
I think we can agree with that. I just don't know that the defensive discrepancy isn't going to be enough to overcome that, because I think
Texas gave up points to Oklahoma State last night. Like,
I mean, they kind of did. They were up 35-14, and then they gave up points.
Yeah, true.
You know, like it was that game was over by like halftime.
Yeah, that's very true. I think that Texas is playing the best ball right now.
Yeah.
I think that like they've looked, very convincing win in your conference championship, and you can still hang your hat on beating Bama and Tuscaloosa. Like, we act like wins in different parts of the season like are different. Like I think a win's a win. Like I get like, oh, Bama wasn't playing their best ball. I was like, well, Texas was. And Texas
I'll say this though, like it's a tremendous challenge, especially on that stage, and especially if you don't have like because all due respect to Steve Sarkisian, he's not Nick Saban. Doesn't have that pedigree, doesn't have that experience, and that like just the everything that comes with that. But you got the picket fights with Keith and Tom as your
all right, I'm trying to retrieve a laptop charger.
Okay, all right, I got you. But anyway, I think Texas doesn't want that rematch with Alabama at all. I
on
think
a neutral field, though, it might play out a little differently. I think because, well, I mean,
I don't know, man. Like I'm just here to tell you, like LSU went and beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa in 2011, and what you had was you had one team trying to protect something,
right,
and another team that had nothing to lose and was going to take it from you. And being that team that has nothing to lose and is going to take it, being the hunter instead of being the hunted,
right,
two completely different things. And if Texas wins that game against Washington and Alabama beats Michigan, and it sets up a rematch and an SEC preview for years to come, which I can totally see the narrative already. Like I wouldn't even put it past the rigged aspect of this, that, and they could say all they want to say. And I have my own thoughts for no disrespect. I know they're Ohio State guys, but Joey Galloway and Kirk Herbstreit are I don't know. Well, one of them is a sycophant for the system and wants to make sure that he's trying to get like a job at a higher level or something like that. Joey Galloway, just like whatever he's supposed to say, he's going to say it, and he's going to defend it and call out Booger McFarland for saying like, this is ridiculous. Why are you penalizing Florida State for.
Yeah, he really did call a booger for no reason. Like,
he's
kind of
like
rude
yelling
to
at
him
him for like,
too.
don't say we. I'm like,
Yeah, he
no,
was rude to him, like on TV.
Don't talk like that, because like y'all definitely this whole group is like definitely in for this TV show thing that Jeremiah described it as. That's a great metaphor for this. They want the highest rated TV show and everything else be damned, apparently.
Yep.
But then Kirk Herbstreit is just like I don't know. He's like a liar.
Well, he's just like Bama,
has,
obviously. He acted like Bama was so obvious to be like, he's just
right.
like, yeah, obviously it's Alabama. I was like, is it that obvious?
It's obvious, really? Like
I was like,
they just almost lost to Auburn.
Yes,
last week,
and they barely beat us.
That still sticks out, and I can't stop emphasizing
how
bad they were in that game, and how bad Auburn is. Auburn is terrible.
Auburn's really bad.
They're terrible, and you lost that game if they actually rushed the passer.
Now, remind me, when they join, are you guys still keeping East and West?
No
okay.
Divisions.
So everyone's getting rid of.
Yeah. Because if it was, it'd probably push Alabama, Auburn into the East because of like you're going geographically. Chad and I have talked about it. If they were to keep division, they probably would have pushed Alabama, Auburn into the East, and then kept Oklahoma, Texas in the West if they were going to do division.
Yeah, but anyway, so that aside, so I think Texas. I just think it's tough. Like when you've already won the game, and then the other team gets to come back and prove that didn't mean anything, and they get to try to beat you. They've got nothing to lose. They already lost to you. What difference does losing to you again make? None.
Exactly. It's like
but you already won, and it's like shit. We gotta win again. We gotta beat the same guys again. I guess Alabama knows what that feels like from 2021, but generally speaking, they're the recipient of that grace,
right?
Not the ones getting getting dinged for it. So yeah, but yeah. So I'm interested to see where we go with these bowl games. I still like I said, I'm kind of hoping for an LSU Iowa matchup because I think
I don't want to play Florida State.
The thing is, all of our everybody going to the league, they're not going to play in these games. That's what sucks about these bowl games now.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening with us.
Yeah,
it's the first time it's like in a while that it's not going to be as exciting for me because like now like these guys just get to go. Like
might get to see your freshmen, see how your freshmen do. I guess.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I'm assuming Beck's he's a junior, so maybe he'll stay around. I feel like this was not the resume to go into the NFL on because this is his first year starting. So, like, I mean, Brock Bowers. I mean, that's the thing last night. It's like we were playing without Ra Thomas, and Brock Bowers and Lad McConkey had maybe one good set of legs between the two of them, if that. Like, and Amarius Mims back out. Was one of our star O linemen. We were having linebackers covering Isaiah Bond.
Yeah,
like we were just like hurt. We're way more hurt than people realize. That's not something to blame. We still played terrible, but like it's like it matters.
Yeah,
it matters.
And the fact that you still almost won that game it says a lot.
We pretty much hand delivered them the win, like more or less. Like
you played better in that game than Alabama did the previous week against Auburn. And honestly, like if I'm watching those two games, if it's the middle of the season, if you just have these two games to look at for how you're going to determine who's the better team, and the resumes of like the teams that they're playing against, what's an uglier performance going into the selection process? Having to pull a rabbit out of your ass in Jordan-Hare to beat Auburn, a terrible Auburn team that just lost to New Mexico State the week before, or having your third string quarterback because the other guy was in the concussion protocol and is going to be healthy in 2 weeks, and the freshman quarterback that you're playing has no bearing on the potential success going forward of your team. But it's was that?
Yeah, Jeremiah lost his sound. He's going to jump back in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I saw the messages pop up, but I didn't
you're
see
good.
what they
Keep
were.
Going.
But anyway, so beating Louisville like by 10 points in the conference championship, like it's clearly the team that looks better is Florida State of those two teams.
Yeah, and like people are gonna claim us for being salty SEC fans, but no, it's like you can't. I would say this goes for any team. Like Florida State being the undefeated team does not like how could you? I still don't
I've
understand
been
how you
making
leave
this
them out.
argument for decades when it was a non-Power 5 conference championship winner.
I got no sound, fellas.
Oh
You
man,
can't hear us.
he can't hear us. Okay.
Well, I mean, these bowls are coming out at 2:30. I mean, what are our real thoughts, Chad?
My real thought is that it's going to be. I don't know. It's going to be.
Apparently,
It's
we're
going to be
playing Florida
rough.
State like in the Orange Bowl, I guess.
At
Apparently,
least we'll get to be in better bowls than we would have been had Alabama not gotten into the playoff.
yeah, it's true. I wanted a Big Ten. I wanted Ohio State. I really do, but I don't know who they're going to get to play now. I don't know like what it's going to shake out to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. I mean, so the Sugar Bowl and the Rose Bowl are off the table.
Yeah.
So what was the Cotton Bowl is a possibility. The Orange Bowl is a possibility. I think the Peach Bowl is a possibility, like for the SEC teams, right?
Yeah. Any luck, Jeremiah? That's a no. That's a confused.
Okay.
That's a confused.
Okay.
I still can't hear you face.
That's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to be. It's like a whole. I don't know that there's ever been this much carnage this late in the season.
I know.
Like
I feel like it was pretty set in stone.
Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, and Florida State
out.
all just go.
Yeah.
I have to go back and look.
6.
Was there a time when they were? Let's see.
We went from 1 to 6, which is crazy.
Yeah, I want to see if we actually had a week where those 4 teams were all in it. Maybe week 11
in the play. Like
Michigan was always in there. That's the problem.
Yeah,
unless maybe week 10. No, yeah. So, but here you have like 3 out of the 4 in week 10, week 11.
Not in it.
Yeah. So Florida State was already out there. Week 9, Florida State was
and they
there.
brought them back in just to like. I feel the committee was praying that Florida State would lose last night. They were praying they would lose to Florida, and then they had to just swallow. Be like, "Yep, we're just not in." Sorry, like they were hoping to have a better reason. I know they were praying that Florida State would just lose, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So they had to rest on this reason, and just
Jeremiah, do you hear us?
I don't even know if he's still in the.
He's down there, but he can hear if he's able to hear, which I don't think he is. Okay. Oh, he just chatted. What did he say?
He fixed it.
He fixed it. Okay, all right.
Hey, how about it?
Hey, welcome back. Well, now we can't hear you. You unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Hang on. I got you. Oh wait, no, I can't unmute you because you chose to mute yourself.
Go user error.
There we go.
Boomer Tech.
Good thing it's not wasn't one of us by ourselves. You know what I mean? We're good. We can just keep it rolling.
Yeah. But yeah. So what are you hoping for bowl wise, Jeremiah? As we
I wanted Ohio State, Georgia. Oh, Jeremiah,
Ohio State, Georgia would be exciting.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Louisville would make me want to blow my brains out. Because at least I think if Ohio State and Georgia play, there might be some incentive for some of the NFL players to maybe play.
Yeah.
If not, I don't know. I mean, we recruit good. It still might be a good battle of some freshmen. I just like it's looking like Louisville, everything I'm looking at online. But
same with us in Florida State.
I haven't seen. So where are you looking? Because I haven't even looked to see where they think we might end up.
I was looking at CBS here.
Okay.
And it's either that or it says like Big Ten / Notre Dame. It'd be odd to put Notre Dame against Louisville, but I would much rather that be and give us somebody else.
I feel like they wouldn't do that though because they already played.
Right.
You know,
it's like when the last time we didn't play in the playoffs and we played Washington, that was the first time we got to see Marvin Harrison Jr. So, like, you know, it might be a good chance to see some of the young players, but it when it doesn't mean anything, it's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, these bowl games are look. The projections are Oregon versus Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl. That's what is that right? That's what I'm reading.
So terrible.
It's
so terrible.
Florida State and Georgia in the Orange Bowl.
Wait. I'm going to pull this one up because I got one from
Peach Bowl, Mizzou and Penn State.
Okay, that's actually not too bad.
And then Cotton Bowl, Ole Miss and Ohio State, or was this what CBS is saying? Like possibility. Like so,
we
we
stop
will
sharing that.
like these are projected.
Where are you? Tell me where you.
I'm on CBS Sports, and then projected Citrus Bowl, Iowa LSU.
The only thing is, though, I think because I hadn't even thought about the whole thing with like guys skipping, but yeah, Jaden Daniels probably not going to play. But I think if Malik Neighbors has said he's going to play, and I think if Garrett Nussmeier plays, I think we can still it'll be an opportunity for him to show out because he did last year against Purdue. Now it was a very hampered Purdue team, but still, Nussmeier lit him up, and he lit y'all up too. In the SEC championship,
they had an interesting prop parlay for the Iowa Michigan game. It was the over on the points, Michigan to win covering the spread, and Iowa's only touchdown being a defensive touchdown. I almost took it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, well, none of that would have hit though. Except for the under on their points.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. What do we have? So I don't have. Where the hell is?
We got 9 minutes until did they release it all at once, or do we get like a whole
I got it.
TV show that we gotta?
Yeah, I was say like I know like it was just staring at our faces while we wait.
a little better TV here. We'll pull up. So this is your bracket up here. I should have had this from the jump. So they're saying we're looking at Cotton, Oregon Fiesta, Oregon versus Liberty, Cotton, Ole Miss, Ohio State. That's not terrible. Y'all gonna have to stop Quinshon Judkins and Jackson Dart, and that offense can do a little bit. Missouri, Penn State, I think would actually be a really good.
I think that would be a great game too.
So I was thinking about this before we came on, when we hadn't found out that Alabama was going to be in it. I was thinking like if they left Alabama out, and then you had no SEC teams, it would make for some really intriguing bowl matchups to where now this whole thing about like conference bowl record would actually start to mean something, because now it'll be like, oh, so like our conference champion is going to play against somebody else's either conference champion or maybe even their second best team. Because now you're getting into like the second, third best teams in the other conferences.
It's like you're letting Alabama and Georgia into the regular bowl schedule.
Right, exactly. So like Georgia, Florida State, boat race. Ole Miss, Ohio State, that might actually be a decent matchup. I still think Ohio State wins that, but it'll be interesting. I think Missouri beats Penn State, honestly. Iowa, LSU, I like us in that matchup, especially if Jaden Daniels actually plays.
Who'd they give you last year? Purdue?
Yeah, did you guys play Purdue?
Yeah. Tennessee, Wisconsin, another one where I'm like, okay, I like the Vols here, but I mean, it all gets so crazy when you get into like who actually
people
plays
are
in these
leaving and
games.
going, and which is
that's
annoying.
Why I stopped doing my little bowl predictor thing, because it was like I can't, like, I have this model that will like predict outcomes of games, but not if the games are stupid.
Like nine starters aren't playing.
If you got all these people suspended or not playing because they're going to the NFL, like it gets really tough.
We'll have to see what we do too. I don't know.
Auburn, Maryland. Oh, that's disgusting.
That's gross.
I like Maryland in that one, honestly.
I don't want to play Florida State. I know I keep saying it, but I really don't want to.
You're gonna give it to
Arizona. Wow, how bad would that be? Like, imagine you're Oklahoma. You think you have a chance to play for the national championship, and then in a few weeks you go to like you're playing Arizona in the Alamo Bowl. Ooh. And the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State. That's another one. I wouldn't mind seeing LSU play play Notre Dame.
Gosh,
Brian
these
Kelly
sponsors,
versus his old team would be cool.
These sponsors kill me. Like Tostitos Fiesta Bowl makes sense. Like the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl makes no sense.
So what's crazy is like the Sun Bowl is still the Sun Bowl. The Liberty Bowl is still the Liberty Bowl. Why aren't these bowls named after like stupid stuff? Like, and why do the other ones? Like, do y'all not know how to sell naming rights? What the hell?
Nobody really wanted to buy that, apparently.
Right. So I don't know. It's just
I don't know. We're 5 minutes away, and then we'll see. We'll confirm it all, and then we'll get on up out of here.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
we're not
I don't know. I don't know if we have time for all that. Are we
Yeah.
going to stay on for the?
I mean, I don't feel the necessary.
because-
I'm sad as it is. Like, I
Yeah,
don't necessarily
because
need
I
to.
don't,
For
I don't need
anybody.
to. I don't need to wait through like a drip sequence of Toledo versus
Yeah, that's a
UNLV
great
in the
point. Nobody
Arizona
wants to
Bowl.
stare at our faces for that long.
So we'll get back. We'll come back and talk to y'all when all
Yeah.
this stuff is finally said and done.
That's a great point.
Yeah, but for now,
So I got Washington. I got Washington Bama championship.
Yep. I
Washington-
like Washington. I like Texas Bama. I want Washington to win it all, but like how I feel is I think Texas is going to win. Honestly, yeah. Or even better for me personally is let Michigan beat Bama. And then let Michigan get embarrassed on a national stage against Texas.
Or even
I want
better,
Washington,
I do like
Michigan, and I want Washington to win it all.
I like your scenario. If Michigan wins the whole thing, and then next year
they get
vacated for the last 3 years, all their wins just get vacated.
Right.
It's that's hilarious because it'd be so on brand for Michigan. It'd just be a throwback to the Fab Five. You know what I mean? Just anything meaningful they don't get to keep.
That's right.
It's great. All right, boys. Well, this is not how we wanted this episode to turn out. I thought that this is like. I think this is I don't know if it's the last way we'd expect this episode to be going. If we would have talked about it,
it's close. It's up there.
I mean, it's like
it's next year.
When I saw Texas at 3, I was like, they gave it to Alabama.
Yeah, me too.
Because I figured
Texas would have been 4.
Texas would have been 4, and Florida State would have been 3. Yep. You know, if Florida State had come up 3, I'd have been like, okay, Texas. There's no way they're gonna just shit on the head-to-head.
Yeah, no.
So when I saw Texas at 3, I was like, oh, that's what they did. They just found their excuse and just shit all over Florida State. That's dirty. Like, that is really dirty. That's the whole thing. Like, the whole takeaway for me from this thing is I get all the arguments, and I'm not saying that they're not valid for if that's what you want. Is like you don't want Florida State to get blown out in round 1 because they don't have their starting quarterback. You don't know that that's going to happen, though, because I don't think anybody thought TCU was going to do what they did to Michigan. And then when they did, I think, be honest, Tyler, you were probably like, well, damn, have we underestimated TCU
That's
as well?
exactly what. No, it was exactly my exact thoughts. It's
and then they just get destroyed in the championship game. But like, you don't know what's going to happen. And I go back to everybody always thinks they know based on the eye test or whatever. Or they think they can say, well, no, you've got to have the best team. And this is the best. Like, no, at some point you have to just stand on some principles that don't get into this subjective gray area BS. Because I watched Kirk Herbstreit in 2006 when Michigan and Ohio State played a nail biter that was won by a field goal by Ohio State. And Kirk Herbstreit said, there are no 2 better teams in college football, and they should rematch for the national championship. And it's not even close. I've seen it with my eyes. I've watched these teams play. Nobody is better than Michigan and Ohio State. And then Florida absolutely destroyed Ohio State after a Ted Ginn kickoff return to start the game. They never looked back. Florida State just absolutely obliterated Ohio State. Florida did with Chris Leak at quarterback. And that right there was like, if that's not clear enough evidence for you that you don't know what the hell you're talking about,
then
I don't know what will be, because you cannot tell me what's going to happen until you play the games.
Yeah,
and the only way you can the only way you can do it,
I would say more often
equitably and fairly is let the team that went undefeated in there and then let them prove themselves wrong. Alabama proved themselves wrong already. They lost to Texas. You already lost. You don't belong there. Florida State has not lost. Let them lose before you take it away from them.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what they were praying to have happen. And they didn't lose. So they had to do some backroom BS to keep them out, because they God forbid that. So what if Florida State lose to Michigan by a lot? So what? But you don't even give them the opportunity to let it happen.
Right.
Look, and I'm not saying it's a high likelihood. What if Florida State had won the damn thing?
Right.
And they were talking about their backup being the greatest college football quarterback of all, like the greatest story of
our
all time.
Third string won it.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens. It happens.
and people talk about Cardale Jones to this day.
Right.
So
This is
why not
exactly.
give Florida State that same opportunity? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
This is the same thing
Exactly.
that they did to, and so like imagine it's Boise State, Oklahoma, right? So like there's no chance, right?
Right.
Except that they won.
Except
And I look, not to rub salt in the wound, but there's somebody. I'm going to wait until the moment is right. But there's somebody who said that somebody had zero chance at winning the Heisman Trophy. I think it's a little greater than zero. I'm not going to say. I don't want to count chickens before they're hatched. But
don't get caught for speeding now, Chad.
I think the chances are greater than zero. Would you say?
I said, don't get caught for speeding now.
Yeah, I know, right. Anyway, all right. Well, this is the South Endzone. It's
Next year
it's gonna be
we'll
an
be breaking down
interesting
the 12
ride.
team.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God. Goodbye, 14 playoff forever.
Goodbye.
Yes, right. Thank God
Never
for the
missed
12
you,
team.
never liked you.
Yes. Oh goodness. All right. We appreciate y'all for joining us. Don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe. Share it with all your friends who like college football, even if you're a Bama fan. Losers. And you want to dick ride some more by like coming in and talking, on our chat or whatever. That's cool. Yeah, you can. Because I'm sorry, I say that because I'm talking mostly about the Alabama fans that live in Baton Rouge. Because I never saw Alabama
George
stickers.
is a Bama fan. He's a good guy. He's understandable. He came in. He spoke.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. No, because we have. Do you guys have that? Do y'all have like Alabama fans just like randomly showing up with stickers in Ohio and in Pennsylvania?
No, I mean, like here
Never.
and there, but like it's not like they at least make sense.
They're all over the place in Baton Rouge. I don't know. I'm like, y'all are the biggest sack riders.
In 2014, we had this one poor guy all by himself watching us, Ezekiel Elliott, run all over Alabama in that 2014 game.
Yeah.
He was all by himself at
You
the
gotta
bar.
respect that guy just showing up.
Yeah, I can respect that.
The only Alabama fan I've ever seen here.
But that dude's probably a transplant. What I don't like. This is not a bunch of people. A bunch of people didn't just suddenly move to Baton Rouge from Alabama. This is some sack riding. Like y'all are some bandwagon losers who like don't. They're probably Cowboys fans too.
Lakers fans, Yankees
fans. Like, you know what I mean? You know the type. You know
the
type.
Yep.
Duke. Duke basketball.
Duke, North Carolina. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, we gotta get out of here. But yes. So share it with anybody, even those people.
Even all those people we named. We appreciate everybody.
That's right. And we will catch y'all on the flip side. I'm Chad. He is Tyler. And thank you, Jeremiah, again for joining us. South Endzone.
Thanks for having me
here. Peace, y'all.